In the winter of 1979, Hollywood made a bet on a mustache, a Ferrari, and the last honest private eye in paradise.
Don't ruin my whiskey with ice. I'm not a bloody American.
Work the lock, don't look at the dogs.
Magnum P.I. didn't just bend the rules, it rewrote them completely.
She's staring at us.
Not through a one-way mirror, she is.
Studios panicked, stars collapsed. The mustache almost never happened.
I found it! Him.
These are 20 wild facts about Magnum P.I., and the bonus, it will blow your mind. Grab your Hawaiian shirt and buckle up. This ride through paradise gets bumpy fast.
Besides, you know I hate to fish those stinky things out. I hate them.
Fact 1. The fedora that got away. On the coldest morning in Hollywood history, Tom Selleck walked into Steven Spielberg's office and shook hands with destiny. Then he walked out and let Harrison Ford have it instead. The year was 1980, and Raiders of the Lost Ark needed an archaeologist who could make audiences believe in adventure again. Selleck screen tested like a man born to crack whips and dodge boulders. George Lucas watched the footage and called it really, really good, which in Lucas speak meant they'd found their Indiana Jones. But CBS owned Tom Selleck's soul for the next 7 years, courtesy of a Magnum P.I. contract that had more clauses than the Constitution. Universal tried to play matchmaker between two studios, figuring everyone could win. They figured wrong. The lawyers dug in like army ants, and Selleck had to choose between a fedora and a Ferrari. He chose Paradise. Then the writers went on strike, delaying Magnum for 6 months, exactly long enough for Selleck to have done both roles. Harrison Ford grabbed the whip, and Tom Selleck spent 8 years wondering what might have been. Think that contract was ironclad? The fine print tells a different story.
Come on, buddy. Come on.
Fact 2. The death certificate they had to shred. Thomas Magnum died on primetime television in May of 1987, and 50 million Americans watched him walk into the light. The episode was called Limbo, and it wasn't supposed to be limbo at all. It was supposed to be the end, period. Full stop, fade to black. Magnum takes a bullet in a warehouse shootout and spends 43 minutes caught between this world and whatever comes next, visiting friends who can't see him, making peace with a life half-lived. John Denver's Looking for Space played him into eternity like a Hawaiian funeral dirge. CBS executives watched their golden goose die on national television, then spent the summer fielding angry phone calls from viewers who felt betrayed. Somebody in the tower decided death was bad for ratings and ordered Magnum back from the beyond for 13 more episodes. The writers had to perform a resurrection that would make Lazarus jealous, explaining how a man who'd already seen the afterlife could suddenly need to solve cases again. Death, apparently, was just another cliffhanger in the age of appointment television. Save the resurrection paperwork. It explains the next legal mystery.
I'm looking for a short, blonde lady about 28.
Fact 3. The title Tom Selleck called unprintable. The star of the show wrote in his memoir that the title was, and these are his exact words, really a shitty title. Tom Selleck didn't mince words about Magnum P.I., partly because he knew from his brief time in Hawaii that P.I. was a less than flattering abbreviation for Philippine Islander. The show started life as simply Magnum, which sounded like a private eye worth hiring. Then the lawyers got involved, the way lawyers always do when something sounds too good to be true. Warner Brothers owned Clint Eastwood's Dirty Harry character, and Dirty Harry had appeared in a movie called Magnum Force. Nobody wanted to explain the difference between a gun and a detective to a room full of attorneys, so CBS slapped P.I. at the end and called it a day. Donald Belisario told Selleck to live with it, the way you live with a scar that never quite heals right. Sometimes even the star of the show can't beat corporate paranoia and the fine print that comes with it.
Hell, we didn't mean any offense.
Fact 4. Orson Welles' final curtain call. The mysterious voice of Robin Masters belonged to the man who once convinced America that Martians were invading New Jersey. One of Orson Welles' final performances was whispering instructions to Tom Selleck from beyond the camera's reach. Scheduled to voice Robin Masters for as long as the show stayed on the air. Welles never appeared on screen, just that voice floating through Robin's nest like smoke from an expensive cigar. When he died in October of 1985, they brought in different actors to voice the character, but none carried the weight of Citizen Kane in their vocal cords.
Except Robin Masters, Gauguin.
Fact 5. The Italian sports car surgery. Every Ferrari 308 had to go under the knife because Tom Selleck was too tall for Italy's idea of a perfect sports car. At 6'4", Selleck folded into that red convertible like origami in reverse, his head bumping the roof every time he tried to look cool. The writers solved the problem by making Thomas Magnum the kind of guy who always drove with the top down, turning a production nightmare into a character trait. 3 different Ferrari model years appeared throughout the series: 1978, 1980, and 1984. Some for driving scenes, others for close-ups. While America thought Magnum drove the same car for 8 seasons, behind the scenes, it was automotive theater.
The lock. Keep working the lock.
Fact 6. The hand-me-down paradise. CBS looked at the abandoned Hawaii Five-0 soundstages in 1980 and decided they needed another cop show set in paradise. Except they got a private investigator instead. Magnum P.I. inherited Jack Lord's old production facilities, filming indoor scenes on the same sound stages where Steve McGarrett once booked criminals. The 2 shows shared the same universe, with Thomas Magnum making references to Detective McGarrett like old colleagues who'd never actually met. It was Hollywood recycling at its finest. One legend's stage becoming another legend's home. If that soundstage could talk, the old scripts would confess everything. Fact 7. The theme song that conquered radio. Mike Post didn't just write a catchy television theme. He accidentally created a Billboard hit that had America humming along in their Buicks and Oldsmobiles. The Magnum P.I. theme reached number 25 on the Hot 100 in 1982, competing with Duran Duran and Journey for radio airtime. The same composer later gave us that iconic dun-dun sound from Law & Order. But first he got Tom Selleck's mustache onto the pop charts. The original theme song was completely different, forgettable elevator music that made the pilot feel like a vacation slideshow. Post scrapped his first attempt and wrote something that sounded like adventure. Remember that Billboard success. It explains why NBC came calling later. Fact 8. The quantum leap that never landed. Donald Belisario pitched a crossover that would have broken television's space-time continuum. Scott Bakula's Dr. Sam Beckett was supposed to leap into Tom Selleck's body, waking up with that magnificent mustache and a Ferrari he didn't know how to drive. Test footage was shot, shown at a Quantum Leap fan convention, and promptly buried in network politics. The crossover would have been appointment television gold, 2 of Belisario's greatest creations occupying the same Hawaiian paradise. Fact 9. The Smithsonian's floral print collection. Thomas Magnum's wardrobe sits in the same building as the original Star-Spangled Banner and Abraham Lincoln's top hat. Selleck's Hawaiian shirt, Detroit Tigers cap, and insignia ring were donated to the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History, joining the cultural artifacts that define America. Future generations will walk past Civil War exhibits and space race displays, then stop to admire a floral print shirt from a guy who solved cases in paradise. Fact 10. Tom Clancy's Hollywood ambitions. The novelist who gave us Jack Ryan and The Hunt for Red October wanted to write Thomas Magnum onto the big screen. In the 90s, Tom Clancy teamed with Selleck to pitch a Magnum movie to Universal, ready to bring military precision and political intrigue to Robin's Nest. Universal went through 3 ownership changes during development, and the project died in corporate shuffles. Sometimes the best stories never make it past the boardroom.
Guns don't work on Sunday.
Fact 11. The detective universe before Marvel. Long before shared universes became Hollywood's favorite trick, CBS created a detective crossover that spanned multiple shows and time zones. Magnum crossed over with Murder, She Wrote in an episode called Novel Connection, where Thomas gets arrested for murder and only Jessica Fletcher can clear his name. Angela Lansbury traveled from Maine to Hawaii to save Tom Selleck's reputation. During Season 3, Magnum also teamed with the Simon brothers to recover a cursed Hawaiian artifact, proving that CBS understood appointment television before Netflix existed. If TV archaeology like this hits home, subscribe. The next reveal involves serious Emmy gold. Fact 12. The Emmy Sweep. Tom Selleck won an Emmy in 1984 for playing Thomas Magnum, proof that charm and vulnerability could outrun muscles and machinery. 3 years later, John Hillerman earned his own for Higgins, that precise counterweight who turned bickering into music. In the Reagan 80s, an era of invincible heroes, 2 actors from a Hawaiian paradise collected television's highest honor for playing human beings who bruise, forgive, and try again. And if brain over brawn is your style, check out our Top 10 MacGyver Wildest Missions. 10 ingenious fixes, pure nostalgia. Drop your favorite workaround in the comments and we might shout you out in the next video. Fact 13. The theme song disaster. They almost aired. Mike Post's Billboard charting masterpiece wasn't the show's first choice. It was the show's salvation after they heard the original theme song. For the pilot and first few episodes, Magnum P.I. had forgettable elevator music that made Thomas Magnum feel like a vacation brochure instead of a private investigator. Post scrapped his first attempt and wrote something that sounded like adventure driving down a Hawaiian highway.
Think that music change was a coincidence? The timing tells a different story.
Fact 14.
The baseball cap that made it personal. Tom Selleck fought wardrobe departments to make Thomas Magnum a Detroit Tigers fan, insisting the character needed authentic touches instead of Hollywood costume design. That baseball cap wasn't just a prop, it was a piece of Selleck's soul transferred to his character. The floral shirts came from the same philosophy, representing Thomas embracing this new phase of his life in paradise. Sometimes authenticity beats focus groups. Fact 15. The spin-off star who vanished. Erin Gray, fresh from Buck Rogers in the 25th century, was supposed to launch her own action series from a Magnum P.I. episode called J. Digger Doyle. She played a security expert helping Magnum thwart an assassination attempt against Robin Masters, testing the waters for her own show. The episode worked perfectly, but the spin-off never materialized, and Gray vanished from the Magnum universe like a witness in protection. Fact 16. The 6-pilot survivor. Before Thomas Magnum made him famous, Tom Selleck had filmed 6 other television pilots that never sold, 6 different chances at stardom, 6 rejections from network executives who couldn't recognize what was staring them in the face. Then Donald Bellisario wrote a script about a private investigator in Hawaii, and Tom Selleck finally found his television home on the 7th try. Save that rejection file. It explains the next casting near miss.
Magnum? Private investigator?
Oh, you're probably wondering about the go.
Fact 17. The James Bond they didn't want. The original pilot sketched Thomas Magnum as a tropical James Bond, suave and frictionless. A gadget-ready charmer who might swap a tux for an aloha shirt without losing the martini. Tom Selleck pushed back. "I want to play what I look like," he told creator Donald Bellisario, arguing for sunburned knuckles, overdue favors, and a sense of humor that arrived before the cavalry. The tone shifted from espionage fantasy to neighborhood stakes. Instead of saving the world, Thomas saved friends, tenants, and the occasional stubborn client. Beer replaced martinis, a Ferrari replaced the Aston, and a Vietnam vet private eye became something genuinely American. Competent, decent, and just dented enough to feel real.
Fact 18. The finale that stopped America. When Magnum P.I. said goodbye in May of 1988, the country paused with it. 50.7 million viewers gathered around living room altars to watch the last case resolve, a number big enough to echo in Monday headlines and coffee lines. This was appointment television in its purest form. No pause button, no second screen, just a nation sinking its evening to 1 hour in Hawaii. The farewell ranked among the 5 most watched series finales in history, shoulder to shoulder with MASH and Cheers. It proved that a weekly mix of humor, honor, and low-key heroism could still pull half the country into the same story at the same time. Fact 19. The multiple Ferrari shell game. Viewers saw one red blur. Production managed several. Across 8 seasons, the show rotated through multiple Ferrari 308s and later updates, each assigned a job. One car handled beauty shots, kept pristine for close-ups. Another took the punishment, gravel driveways, quick stops, and camera rigs bolted where comfort once lived. Subtle year-to-year changes, grills, wheels, badging, hid under the constant of Rosso Corsa paint and the same license plate in frame. It was practical filmmaking disguised as continuity. The effect on the audience was simple. Middle-aged men eyed their station wagons, did back-of-napkin math, and dreamed of Italian V8s and open Hawaiian roads. Hold that Ferrari registration. The final fact involves the creator of Star Wars.
Why don't you join us?
Oh, sure, great. I'll just get my trunks.
Fact 20. The Englishman Who Wasn't. Jonathan Higgins is the estate's caretaker, Magnum's constant foil, and the show's dry moral compass. Ex-military, exacting, forever correcting. He sounds impeccably British, which is the twist. The actor, John Hillerman, was born and raised in Texas. He built Higgins's accent through classical stage work and careful study until viewers forgot it was a performance. That precision earned major recognition, an Emmy in 1987 and a Golden Globe in 1982, and it sharpened the show's odd couple chemistry, Magnum's sun-warmed improvisation against Higgins's polished order. Even if you never saw an episode, you know the pairing. Charming chaos meeting disciplined calm. Bonus fact, the Mustache Hall of Fame. Tom Selleck's facial hair earned its own place in the Mustache Hall of Fame, with a digital plaque reading, "Throughout his acting career, Selleck's charismatic grin, unflinching masculinity, and robust, stocky lip holstery have made him the stuff of legend." In a world of clean-shaven leading men and corporate-approved grooming, Tom Selleck's mustache became a cultural monument that inspired a generation of men to grow their own.
So if you love getting behind the Hawaiian madness, hit like, smash subscribe, and tell us in the comments what fact made you laugh, gasp, or rewind. Because in a world of copycat detective shows, only one series ever looked television in the eye and made it grow a mustache.